Dun, 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 dun. And now it's time for a special Lumpy Pair. This is a Halloween special. This is not part of the normal story, and so none of the rules apply of what we've heard so far. Just today's a Halloween special. But it does take place exactly where they were at the end of last chapter. Were we on chapter 7 or 6?
7, Dad.
7 was the last one?
Yeah, Dad.
Okay.
Can you please not say chapter, cause...
Okay, episode?
Yeah.
What was the last episode?
7.
Okay. So this is episode 7.5.
Huh? No. Oh, yeah, 7.5.
Because this one doesn't count.
Nope.
All right. Episode 7.5. Halloween special. The sun came up, and it was an interesting color. It was orange. The sun is sometimes orange, but this was a very orangey orange. So the whole village and castle and everything at the foot of Mount Num was colored orangish, golden orange. It was very pretty. And then all of a sudden, while Nico and Ronan and Princess Alayna and Isaac were cozy in their beds, the light was coming through the windows. They could hear trumpets. What is going on? They all sat up and looked out the windows, and they saw a parade going by, and they ran to the innkeeper and said, "What is going on?" And they said, "Today is the special Halloween day. All day is Halloween party with activities and fun yummy treats and costume contests and trick-or-treating, all that stuff." Well, there's only one rule, the innkeeper said. You have to have a costume. And so you better go to the costume store. And they said, "The costume store, where is it?" And the innkeeper said, "You go out. You walk 50 paces. Well, you go out, you turn right, walk 50 paces. Then you turn right and walk 100 paces. Then you turn right and walk 100 paces. Then you turn right and walk 100 paces. Then you turn right and walk 50 paces. And then you look left and cross the street. And right there is the costume shop." Okay, so they ran out of the store. And Alayna said, "I don't know if there's going to be any costumes, because if today's the Halloween party, probably everybody bought everything." So they ran 50 paces, and they turned right, and they ran 100 paces, and they turned right and ran 100 paces, and they turned right and ran 100 paces, and then they turned right and ran 50 paces, and then looked across the street. And then Ronan said, "Wait a second." And they crossed the street. And as they were walking across the street, Ronan looked behind him and saw the innkeeper standing there laughing, because they just ran in a big circle. He made them run all the way around the block, because on Halloween, it's trick or treat. Ha ha ha. Well, they made it into the costume store because they just opened. It was still early in the morning. So Alayna was right. There was not a lot of costumes at all. In fact, there's barely anything. There was one costume that was a can of beans. And there was one costume that was a stalk of broccoli. And one costume was a wizard, but it was missing the hat. So it didn't look very wizardy. It didn't even have a staff or a wand. It was just a purple robe. And then there was a netherite armor costume. And Ronan laughed at that one because he said, "Look at how fake that looks." Nobody wanted that. And then there was a banana. And
hey,
then there was
a banana costume.
And then there was an orange.
What the heck?
And then there was grapes.
Grapes.
And then there was a fried egg costume. That was what they got to choose from. Well, Nico said, I want the can of beans. And they thought that was funny. And then Ronan said, I'm going to take the netherite armor. So it was just, he just looked like he was wearing cheap armor that was fake, but underneath was real netherite armor.
I wanted to wear the banana.
And then, of course, Alayna got the banana costume.
Like the Fortnite banana.
And all of the costumes were on 80% off, super discount. And the wizard costume was even cheaper. And so Isaac said, I'm going to be the wizard. And so they all bought the costumes, and they ran outside, and Isaac, well, it's too late. You bought the banana one. And then as you walked out, you said, I should have got the grapes. And so the storekeeper said, here's the grapes you could keep. So then Isaac grabbed a branch and broke it off of the tree. And that was his gnarly wizard staff. And then he didn't really have a wizard hat, but that was okay. He still looked wizardy. And then they went around the whole town. There was a big parade, and there was a costume contest, and everybody entered, and Nico won the costume contest because he was the only one dressed as a can of beans. Everybody else had copy costumes. And the costume store had a bunch of cans of beans costumes because nobody wanted to be a can of beans for Halloween. So it was just cool because he was the only one dressed as a can of beans. So it was so original that he won the contest. And then there was bobbing for apples, and there were caramel apples. Ooh, so yummy. And then there was
Banana?
a creeper challenge.
Banana?
It wasn't really a real creeper.
Is there a banana challenge?
Nope, no banana challenge, but there was a creeper challenge where you had to pump up air into a fake creeper and see who could get it pumped up the most without blowing it up. But it wasn't a real creeper, and so it wasn't going to hurt you.
But it would hurt your ears.
And Alayna pumped it all the way up, and she could see that it was starting to stretch and rip, and so she stopped. And then Isaac said, I'm going to do it, but it was already ripped and stretched. So it didn't take very much, and kablooey! It splattered green slime all over Isaac. So now his wizard costume had green slime all over it.
Good thing he was wearing a robe.
There was a pumpkin carving contest, and Ronan just killed in that one. He did the coolest carved pumpkin that anybody ever saw. It was a silly-looking creepy face. And then the sun started going down.
Yay,
And the lights were everywhere. It was really cool looking. It was not a scary Halloween party. In fact, some people said it's not Halloween. We just call it the Fall Festival. Some people like to call it Halloween. So it was just whatever anybody wanted. But they did have trick-or-treating. And so Isaac and Alayna and Ronan and Nico all ran around and gathered as much trick-or-treating candy as they could. And then, as it was getting late, and there's a certain time that you have to stop. You have to stop trick-or-treating. Nobody wants you to come by it if it's too late. And they knew that, and so they were being respectful. And they went back to the inn,
in their mouth.
and they traded candy. Everybody got their favorites, and anybody that didn't want something somebody else wanted, except for these weird orange and black wax paper candies that were called peanut butter kisses. Nobody liked them.
I love them.
It was like saltwater taffy.
I loved them in Halloween.
No, you didn't like them. Nobody did. These were different ones. For the story, nobody wanted them. And so they made a big, giant pile of grody peanut butter kisses and threw them in the garbage.
There's only like
But they were all
5 of
sick
them.
anyway, eating too many chocolates, and too many candy corns, and too much Snickers and Kit Kats and Skittles and Laffy Taffies, and nobody ate Twizzlers because that's not real candy. And
Fake.
and that was that, and everybody got so sick they just fell asleep. Dun, 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 dun. That is the end of the.
Good night.
Well, we'll do that. What are we going to call this episode?
The parade.
Halloween parade?
No, how about the fall festival?
The fall festival?
The
Yeah.
doggy festival.
It's a festival. Did you know? But there's a V, not a B.
the
Fall.
dog-
Say it with
the
me.
doggy
Fall festival. Yep.
The doggy
But that was
festival,
funny.
and the whole life you get
The Halloween
Can
special
of
fall
beans.
festival. How
Yeah.
about that? Okay.
Can I start
Okay.
it, Dad? Because
And what?
I
Wait.
want
Well,
to.
hold on. Now let's talk about the picture.
Good night.
It's called the thumbnail. What are we going to have? All of you guys dressed up in different costumes?
no,
And a pumpkin, carved pumpkin?
no, I want.
Glowing?
I want to be.
Wait, no, I want it to be like a beam. I want it to be like a row of costumes, all the costumes that they have.
Okay, well, we'll see. We'll
Or
make
maybe-
it a surprise, and then you guys can see it. All right,
Can
so
I
now
start
let's
it?
salute.
Night.
Well, it was actually Isaac's turn. It's Isaac's turn to start it. But then you can start it tomorrow. Okay, Isaac, go ahead.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Good night. All right, good night, everybody. And if somebody you know you think might want to watch it or listen to this, the Lumpy Pear Stories, won't you share or give this video a like? And we will have a video soon where, with permission from your parents, or with your parents actually, you can comment and let us know what you think, but it has to be the parents. Can't be just kids only. So thanks for listening.